Dodge this.
It's been a while, but Keanu Reeves confirmed he's on board for Matrix 5, though he agreed to return under one condition, and that was 3 years ago. While rumors about a fifth movie have been swirling for some time, it's now official. Warner Bros. Has given The Matrix 5 the green light. Although it's still in the early stages of development, the next Matrix movie is already looking like it'll bring another big shift to the franchise. So, let's dive into everything we know about the upcoming film. After nearly 3 years of waiting, Warner Bros. Finally announced plans for The Matrix 5 in April 2024. Given the franchise's potential and all the inside jokes in The Matrix Resurrection about Warner's bigger plans, the sequel isn't much of a surprise. The only concrete detail so far is that Drew Goddard will direct, making it the first Matrix film not helmed by the Wachowski sisters. Keanu Reeves has previously said he'd be open to returning as Neo, but only if Lana Wachowski asked him to. Back in 2021, when asked about another Matrix sequel, Reeves didn't seem to think it was in the cards. But when pressed, he made it clear that if Lana invited him back, he'd be in. Reeves is no stranger to big franchises and sequels, but his return as Neo hinges on Lana's involvement. He loves the character, but it's more about her blessing than having a great script or a major role. The big question is whether Reeves will return for The Matrix 5, especially since Lana isn't directing this time around, with Drew Goddard taking the reins. Although Lana is still attached as a producer, it's unclear how involved she'll be in the film's development. It would be smart for Goddard and Warner Bros. To keep her in the loop to ensure her support, which could convince Reeves to come back. If Lana is sidelined, though, it might be tough to get Reeves on board, as he's remained loyal to her vision for the series. So, what do we know about the cast for The Matrix 5? Well, considering how The Matrix Resurrections wrapped up pretty smoothly, it's likely that most of the cast from that film will come back. You can't have The Matrix without the dynamic duo of Neo and Trinity, so Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss are definitely must-haves. As for Jonathan Groff's character, Smith, he seems like the perfect candidate to step back into the villain role. However, there's some uncertainty around Neil Patrick Harris's analyst. He could potentially come back, but since he reports to a higher power, he might not be the main antagonist this time around. But honestly, this is all just speculation for now. No official cast announcements have been made yet. As for the story details of The Matrix 5, things wrap up in The Matrix Resurrections with Neo and Trinity defeating Neil Patrick Harris's analyst. However, there are still a bunch of loose ends left hanging. For one, Neo and Trinity express their desire to reshape the Matrix into a more positive space, which definitely opens up some intriguing storyline possibilities. Plus, it's hinted that the analyst is reporting to a higher machine power known as the Suits, and there are suggestions that human blue pills might have allied with the enemy, potentially setting up a new antagonist for the next film. The most logical direction for the story to go in would be to focus on Jonathan Groff's Agent Smith. After assisting Neo and Trinity against the analyst, who is their common enemy, Smith mentions their uneasy alliance and then slips away into the shadows. With Smith out there, he doesn't exactly fit into a peaceful Matrix, and his plans could create an exciting new conflict for The Matrix 5. There's been a popular theory about what the plot of The Matrix 5 should be, but it's worth noting that this story has already been told within the franchise. The Matrix universe is huge, and there are endless stories to explore in future films and spin-offs. After spending 4 movies focused on Neo and Trinity, fans are curious about what could come next, but one perfect story has already been addressed a long time ago. The original Matrix trilogy is a classic in sci-fi storytelling, and after it wrapped up with The Matrix Revolutions, many wondered what the future held for the series. 18 years later, The Matrix Resurrections answered that question, but it was a mixed bag critically and a box office disappointment, leaving the franchise's future uncertain. To succeed, The Matrix 5 needs to try something fresh, and unfortunately, this popular theory about the next film story doesn't quite fit the bill. If The Matrix 5 wants to make waves, it should probably be a prequel to the original films. The franchise has spent 4 films zeroing in on Keanu Reeves' Neo, and even though he's more popular than ever, the series can't handle another movie centered around him. Reviving Neo in The Matrix Resurrections was a big misstep, and after that 4th film, there just isn't much left to explore about his character. It's time to step away from Neo and look back at the vast world of The Matrix instead. There's plenty of untapped lore that hasn't been showcased in a proper film, so shifting focus away from Neo's story could be the best move for the franchise to recover from its recent struggles. On the flip side, there's a ton of extra material out there trying to unpack the origins of The Matrix, especially the different cycles that happened before the main series. So, finding a story from that background for The Matrix 5 shouldn't be too tough. In fact, the most popular theory for the next film's plot revolves around this idea. While there are lots of stories to explore in the Matrix universe, diving into the origins of the Matrix and the Machine War isn't necessary. A lot of fans would naturally jump to the Machine War since it's a significant event that hasn't been directly covered in the main films. But here's the thing, the Machine War was already laid out pretty well in the Animatrix. The Animatrix features several disconnected stories, one of which is called the Second Renaissance. In this segment, a character called the Instructor explains the rise of artificial intelligence in the 21st century and goes through the events leading up to the Machine War, what happened during it, and how it all contributed to the creation of the Matrix. This segment provides crucial details about the backstory before the first movie. For The Matrix 5 to take on the Machine War, it would need to recreate the Second Renaissance, which is definitely an option. The Machine War has enough depth for a full-length film, and since the Animatrix only touched on it briefly, there's room for a live-action retelling. However, messing with the Animatrix could be risky, since it's often seen as the best follow-up to the original film. Plus, it's one of the rare places where we get stories that aren't centered on Neo. Changing it could alienate fans who appreciate the broader Matrix lore. That said, there's a way for The Matrix 5 to explore the origins of the Matrix without contradicting the Animatrix. One approach could involve crafting a detailed story that respects what's already been established. Since the Second Renaissance covers the broader history, a more personal narrative set during the Machine War could fit in nicely without conflicting with the animated version. Another idea is to present the Second Renaissance as being narrated by an unreliable source. Since the Instructor tells the story from the archives of Zion, years after the fact, it opens the door for the archives to be inaccurate. This could provide a solid explanation for any discrepancies between the Animatrix and what The Matrix 5 might want to explore, allowing both to coexist without undermining each other. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop, and if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.